Who we got? Tim, right here on the left on 2. Thank you.
Jayson, how do you assess the job you guys have done defensively on Tatum so far? I mean, obviously he's not shooting great, but he's still doing lots of important things. Is that kind of, when you're playing an elite player like him, is that kind of the best you can hope for sometimes? Is that you take something away and hope the rest doesn't hurt you too much?
Yeah, I think we're just, he's one of the best players in the world, so you're trying to just make it tough. And that's all you can do is, hopefully guard the first move, guard the second move, guard the third move, and contest. And the guys are doing that at a high rate and just trying to make it tough on them.
Yep. Third row in the center.
In game 2, it seemed like you utilized Dante Exum a little more as a third ball handler next to Luka and Kyrie, and he provided some defensive versatility. What did you see from that combination? Is that something you could potentially lean on more in game 3?
Yeah, I thought Exum did a great job in game 2, and so we'll look to see if we can get that combination out there a little bit more. As a third ball handler, defensively, I thought he did a really good job, and then he's one of the few that's made a 3 in this series, so he knocked down the open 3, and so we're going to need that a little bit more from him. But I thought the pace that he came with was really good.
Mike, go ahead.
Jayson, it seemed like the Celtics are doing a lot of pre-switching whenever Luka tries to get isolation on a big. I guess what's the best way to counter that?
Yeah, I think when you look at their defense, just understanding, I thought Luka did a great job of getting off to a great start, scoring. It's just understanding who's on and who he's involving in the pick and roll, and just we have to do a little bit better job of that. But I thought he's getting where he wants to go.
Steve, over here on the left.
Jayson,
Yep.
what do you think the shift to Dallas will mean for your team, particularly, it's cliche, but the role players, and they say that they play better in home games?
That's what they say. We'll see. We're home. Understanding that Boston held serve, and that's what we're talking about is just focusing on game 3. We felt there in game 2 we had opportunities that we just let get away from us, and so for us at home, protecting home court, but the cliche is role players play better at home, so we'll see.
Eddie, back right.
Hey, Jayson, how do you walk the line between urgency, which is obviously growing, and telling everybody to relax and chill out a little bit?
It's easy to say relax. I think the urgency started for us a while back, so I think we're used to that. I think the game of basketball is about makes and misses and capitalizing on mistakes, and we just haven't had that opportunity to capitalize. We're getting stops. We turn the ball over. We give up a 3. Understand coming down a stretch, we had to play perfect. So hopefully we can get, the game is close coming down a stretch and we can capitalize on their mistakes. But there's 2 teams playing, so we can relax and enjoy this and have fun. And that's what it's all about, and hopefully we can do that tomorrow night.
On your left, standing in the back.
Hey, Coach, they had a lot of success, it seemed, in game 2, going to a little bit more 4 out, 1 in, Drew or White in the dunker spot. I'm wondering what the changing of that spacing does to your defense. What kind of challenges does it provide when you got a guard down there, down low?
Yeah, you look at White and Holiday are comfortable. Holiday is very comfortable in the dunker. He plays as the big, being able to not just put the ball in the basket, but also to be a playmaker from that position. He's a willing passer. When you talk about a point guard or a versatile guard, those 2 can play make from there. And so they put a lot of pressure. It's a little different when you have smalls in the dunker. And so for us, we had to do a little bit better job of understanding who's down there. Again, Boston's a very talented team. When you talk about the 4 around 1, they got 4 shooters on the perimeter. and they can play make, and they're very willing passers. So there's sometimes in this league you got to give up something, and right now they're taking advantage of that.
Last question right here.
Jayson, how was your experience of playing NBA Finals in this building, and what does this franchise mean to you first as a player, now as a coach?
Yeah, I think this is an incredible atmosphere to win that championship in 2011. The city is incredible. They love their Mavs, and so to win it then and then now to be here in 24 is special because you don't really get an opportunity to do that. So I understand the opportunity that I have to be the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks is a dream come true, but we're trying right now to figure out how to win one game, and that's the next one tomorrow night.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
We'll take first question towards the middle there on the right. Just wait for the mic.
Luka, Kevin Gray, Mavs Radio Network. Two-part question. One, how are you feeling after game two as far as the chest area is concerned? And two, for you, what have you learned about yourself through the first couple of games with the intensity of the finals and how you're managing that so far in this series?
First, I feel good. I don't want to get any more details, but I feel good. Second one, the intensity, the physical. You said intensity and physicality. I think it's up a notch for sure. Both teams played a lot of games throughout the season, but I think the physicality has been on point for sure.
Standing on your right.
Luka, Eric Mora de Telemundo Dallas. ¿Cómo está el equipo y cómo manejan esa presión en cara al juego número 3 después de haber caído los primeros dos juegos? ¿Cómo manejar tanto en grupo esa presión como tú individualmente cómo la manejas?
No, estamos bien. Hemos perdido 2, todavía no hemos perdido 4, así que todas las miradas están en el partido 3 y hay que ir a por todas.
Mark, on the left side. Raise your hand. There you go.
Mark Spears, ESPN's Landscape. Did playing for Madrid in 18, does that prepare you for the finals, or is this like that atmosphere, or is this totally different?
I would say it's different. Just being 18 and 25 is a big difference. But just, it's different games. Here you play first of 4. In the EuroLeague, it's just one game, so it's way different. But I wouldn't just say that game prepared me for now. It's been throughout my career that prepared me for this moment.
On your right, second row.
Luka, por acá, Pedro Silva, Univision Dallas. ¿Cuál es el mensaje que se le puede dar a los aficionados que van a asistir al juego de mañana y también al viernes para el tercer y cuarto partido? Y también preguntarte si llegaste a ver el partido, hablando del Real Madrid, contra el Murcia de los playoffs.
Sí, mi mensaje es todavía creer en nosotros, no hemos perdido todavía y sobre todo vamos a jugar en casa con todos los aficionados. Sé que van a estar muy bien y va a hacer mucho ruido. Y sí, he visto el partido. Bonito todo lo que han hecho por Rudy.
On your left, standing over here.
Hey Lucas, you're at Sohi from The Ringer. I wanted to ask you about a pass that you made in the third quarter to Exum. The last game, it was the behind the back. I was just curious if that was is that something where you actually were able to see him, or do you kind of intuit that that's the spot he's going to be in?
I saw him before, when I started driving. I saw him at that spot. So when I went for layup, I saw two on me. I know he was going to be open.
All the way back in the right.
Luka, Jesús Quiñones con Telemundo. Preguntarte qué ha hecho también la defensa de Boston para poder limitar el ataque de Dallas.
Bueno, yo creo que tienen jugadores muy buenos defensivos. Y bueno, la verdad que nosotros no hemos metido muchos tiros. Había algunos abiertos, algunos no, pero están muy físicos con nosotros y nosotros tenemos que aprovechar eso.
Third row over here on this left.
Luka, Dante Exum spent more time playing next to you and Kyrie last game. Seemed like you were able to get off the ball, play in more off-ball actions, and he pushed the pace quite a bit. How helpful is it having him next to you and Kyrie?
Very helpful, he can dribble the ball. He play point guard, so he can help us both. Save our energy. He can just bring the ball up, and he can make plays too. So it's good that he was able to find.
Standing on the left.
Luka, they've been sort of changing their spacing around trying to make you and Kyrie be the low man and help responsibility more often. What kind of challenges that present for you, especially when you're dealing with such a big load offensively, to have to do the help defense on so many of those possessions?
I mean, our defense is built in five guys. Our low man is very important. So no matter who is the low man, we know we're gonna do a great job. We've been working on this the whole season, preseason. So I've been in that position a lot, with the low man. We've been working on it since preseason, so we feel confident with that.
On your right, fourth row.
Luka, buenos días. ¿Qué influencia puede tener el ritmo de juego de un equipo o de otro en el resultado final, de acuerdo a lo que estás viendo en el juego 1 y 2?
¿Puedes repetir?
¿Qué influencia puede tener el ritmo de juego, el pace, entre un equipo y otro en el juego 1 y 2? ¿Y qué es lo que más le conviene a Dallas?
Sí, nosotros queremos jugar rápido. Creo que en el segundo partido hicimos mucho mejor con el ritmo. Creo que jugamos más rápido que en el primero y por eso hemos tenido la oportunidad, estamos más cerca, pero todavía nos queda, podemos jugar con más ritmo.
Tim in the middle.
You guys obviously wouldn't be here without your role players hitting a bunch of big shots throughout the playoffs. Those shots hadn't fallen in the first couple games for the most part. What do you say to guys, the PJs, the D. Jones, Maxis, and kind of what sense do you have as far as how they're feeling right now offensively?
Just one thing, just keep shooting. We all believe in those shots. That's how we came to the finals. And that's how we play the whole season. We believe in those guys. Everybody believes. So if you're open, just keep shooting. Then you're gonna knock it down at some point.
Tim here in the second row.
Luka, along those lines, you've mentioned confidence and belief. Yes, you guys are home, and Boston held serve at home like they're supposed to. But what are some of the things that you really can look at from those first two games and say, that's going to work for us? Like, what are some of the things you can look at from 1 and 2 and say we're confident in this?
Just trying to keep getting open looks. I think our defense has not been bad, but just we can't really score. That's our main problem right now. But I think we're getting some great looks, and like I said, we have confidence that everybody can make a shot. That's shooting the ball in our team, so we just got to keep believing it.
Thank you, Luka.
Thank you.
We'll take first question here on this third row. There you go, on your left.
Mike Leslie, WFA. Kyrie, I know the other night after game 2, you started talking a little bit about, hey, I've been in this situation before, down 0-2, and come back in a series. And I know then you walked into the locker room and told the guys, hey, we're fine. Where does that confidence come from? How do you instill that in the rest of a roster that hasn't been through this the same way that you have been?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it all year. Failure is the best teacher at times, and it can inspire you to do great things. It's our first time being in the finals as a team with this group. We understand who we're up against, the competitive level, the nature of the finals, the competitive level we have to play at, and then also the adjustments that we have to make out there on the floor, just as players. The coaching staff is doing a great job preparing us, but it's our job as players to make those adjustments and play even harder, especially when the game's getting a little out of balance or we have a lead and we want to extend it a little bit. So a lot of it is just a learning curve for myself, for my teammates, and also a peace of mind that we give each other that, we want to give ourselves a chance by leaving it all out there on the floor and playing our best and preparing the best way we can. So that's literally been the focus since game 2 ended, was just putting our best foot forward, coming back home, feeling good, feeling familiar, and letting our game speak for itself.
Fifth row on the aisle on your right.
Hey, Kai. Blake Elliott, 105 Through the Fan. How confident are you in just your own personal game, kind of getting back on track, I think even to your own standards of where you didn't want to be in games 1 and 2, coming back home? Where are you at mentally just in your own game?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing of that is just accepting that I haven't played well or up to my standards or as well as I would have liked. Being back in Boston, there's such a level of desire that I have inside of me to play well and wanting to be there for my teammates. So as a competitor, it's frustrating, but I don't want to let that seep in or spill over to any other decisions I have to make there as a player, and continue to feed my teammates' confidence. I have been down 0-2 before, lost a series, won a series. So I know what it takes and also understanding, how to prepare for something like that mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. But first, it's just respecting your opponent, and then most importantly, just putting your best foot forward when we go out there, man. It's as simple as that.
Tim, standing on your left.
Kyrie, obviously Boston has a bunch of guys that could throw at you defensively, but you spent a lot of time with Jaylen Brown. He's talked a lot this year about the pride he's taken in improving as a defensive player. I was just curious from your perspective watching him, how have you seen him grow at that end, and what do you think of the way he's been playing in this series?
No, he's been playing great. He's been one of the emotional leaders on their team, and defensively he's making it difficult. And that's what he's been doing all year. And for the past few years, he's really tried to make his mark on that end. So when you take pride in what you do on the defensive end, it's going to show. And I think he's really been separating himself on that end. And then offensively, to be able to do it on both ends of the floor is even more impressive. So, this is what makes the finals even greater, is going against somebody that great on that end, has a lot of high energy, and is going to make it difficult, but we got to go straight at him.
Jeff, fifth row on the left.
Jeff Zilgate, USA Today. Kyrie, what didn't you like about games 1 and 2? Was it more than missed shots? And then what does a much better game look like for you in game 3?
Games 1 and 2 is just about our total team effort and how we can control a lot of the mistakes that we made out there, whether it be turnovers. Obviously, the missed shots are going to happen. That's a basketball game. I can be a lot more fundamentally sound, technical on my shots, and not get into the paint often where it's 3 or 4 guys around me and I'm not making a pass. They're sending, specific strategies against me to make it difficult. We're at the highest stage in the world. So, it's a small sample size. We only get, a 7-game series potentially. So I just can feel the stakes being raised up a little bit more. The pressure is natural, makes diamonds. But I think for us as a team, we just have to control what we can control on that end of being able to match their pace, but also feel good about ourselves when we're getting stops. When we get stops and we get out in transition, we're a better team. When we're getting stops and giving up offensive rebounds, or we're getting stops and then we're turning the ball over, it hurts our chances to even be in the game. So the margin of their victories haven't really displayed the full story, in terms of the Celtics beating us, but we just have to continue to lean in on each other, especially when it gets tough out there, because we're going against a great team, and they're not going to stop pressing us. They're not going to stop their pace. They're not going to stop testing us on both ends of the floor. So we know what we're in for, but now we got to raise it to an even higher level, and it starts with me.
Same row towards the center.
Hey, Kyrie, drafteados from Spain. The other day and now you say that it's not the first time that you are in this position, down 2-0 in the finals. Can you tell us what you learned in 2016 that is helping you right now, and what are you sharing with your teammates from that experience?
Just sharing with them that it took a lot of resilience. It took a lot of will to win in 2016, but that's also a different team. We had time to fail together. We had time to go through our trials together. We lost in 2015, and a lot of guys came back in 2016, and we won. So there was an inner motivation there. And we also knew who we were going against and how well they played. So I think if you have a healthy way or perspective of looking at where we are now, it feels like we are that team that's gaining the experience, that's being able to fail at this level, and now we have an opportunity to respond, and that's all you can ask for in a basketball season. If you asked me in September or October, would I want a chance to be down 0-2 and having a chance to respond in Game 3 or be out of the playoffs, I think I would choose the former. It's as simple as that in terms of just putting it in perspective. We're only teams left, and this is about chess. That's all it is.
Next question here in the front.
Kyrie, here with NBA social media. I'm a correspondent for today. It seems like, you play the game free, day in and day out. I just kind of want to know the, different variables, whether, the people you surround yourself with, does it come from your work? Does it come from, different routines that you do? Just want to, kind of get your thoughts on, how you are able to, go in and play a, free 48.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Kay. I think it starts with, just being aware of your own goals and what you want to accomplish, your team goals, how you can help accomplish that, but also what's going to bring you peace of mind off the court when you leave it. Some of us would say family, video games, other business entrepreneurial opportunities, but just helping you have a healthy balance with the game. The game is going to be the game. It's going to torment you emotionally. You're going to fail. You're going to succeed. You're going to make shots. You're going to miss shots. But you want to be able to go home to a great family, people that love you unconditionally, and those that are going to be truthful with you. I'm grateful that I've been able to build a tribe around me that has all those. So, dealing with a lot of the criticism when you're young or even when you're older of how to accomplish something like I'm trying to do right now, there are going to be a lot of people that want to see you fail. So get used to that too. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to be naysaying and wanting to see you kind of destroy yourself in the process. So I would say just focus on the people that really love you for you, and your teammates are there to support you, especially when you know them through and throughout. And then trusting the people that have been there before you. They'll give you a lot of advice to help you reason or rationalize what's going on. So that's a great question, brother. And it took me a while to figure that out and find that peace of mind. And that's why you get a chance to see me up here. But I definitely want to see you accomplish that peace of mind a lot earlier than I had to, man, because it's not worth it to let anybody's opinions get to the best of you, or people that have never been in our position, don't know what it takes, don't know the sacrifices, never will. But they guess, and they try to make it up. So show them respect, but at the same time, understand that we're all human at the end of the day. All right.
Take final two. Last one in the middle, and then Tim over here on the left.
Kevin Gray, Mavs Radio Network. Kyrie, a lot's been made about the bond that you and Luka have formed throughout the course of this season. You having been in this position before, being down and coming back to win an NBA Finals, how are you helping him manage this situation? How are the two of you helping each other, especially knowing what you're trying to accomplish over these next couple of games, especially here at home?
Yeah, well, it started with me. Just telling my hermano, I got to play better for him alongside him. And, in order for us to, accomplish our goal, we both have to be playing well, and we both have to be doing the little things and doing whatever it takes to win. So easy conversation, but it started with me reaching out, just letting him know that, you know, it's my fault taking accountability for not playing particularly well. But also I gotta continue to trust my guys around us or around me, and you know, have fun in the process. We've gotten this far because we've been a great team, not because we've just put it on me and Luka. It's been a total team effort, total organizational effort to get thus far. So we just got to keep trusting in that. So a pretty simple conversation.
Tim, last one here on the left.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Kyrie, I'm guessing that there's a lot about the defense from the first two games that you've probably liked, quite a bit anyway, from time to time at least.
Rather win.
Of course. The fact that the D has been good in stretches, how much does that help the confidence standpoint going into?
No, it's man, we definitely have had some moments of positivity on the defensive end where we've gotten the missed shots. Again, you know, when I just remember one play that comes to mind, just where potentially could be down 6, and then Peyton Pritchard comes down and hits a 3 going into the fourth quarter, where it gives them a little bit more breathing room to have the game in their hands. So just being aware of some of the plays that they're going to try to make at the end of quarters, the plays that they try to make to start off the game to get them going a little bit, the plays that they run when we're in the lead. You know, we've had the lead in the first quarter 12-6 both times or 13-6 both times, and we're feeling good about ourselves, and they come out and they run the same play 4 times in a row. So our IQ has to be at an even higher level, and also our communication and trust has to be at an ultimate level where we can just trust our instincts out there.
Thank you, Kyrie.
Appreciate you guys.
We will have, for the Celtics, Coach first, then Tatum, followed by Brown.
with you about Jayson Tatum. Jayson already scored 50 points in a playoff game, and he's capable of doing that at any time. In the first game, Porzingis said what he did only because of Jayson Tatum. Holiday said the same thing in game 2. My question is, do you think that we are watching the best version of Jayson Tatum in these finals?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I think because of the type of player that he is, it's always going to look different because of his versatility. And you live in America or Brazil? Well, that's probably why you asked that question, and none of the American ones did, because they look at the lens differently of basketball. And so in America, nothing's ever good enough, and it's always about what can you do for me right now. And it's not always the case in this situation. So yes, I think we are, and I think he's only going to get better. And he makes greatness look easy because of his ability to impact the game in many different ways. And he's just going to continue to get better and better and better. And it's an honor to coach him.
Standing on your right, Tim.
A couple things, Joe.
Did you like that one?
I did like that one a lot. Yeah, I smiled. I look at the game, I think, in a decent way.
Yeah.
You guys just put out a very long release about Kristaps, who has this issue with his left leg. He also looked like he tweaked his right leg. I saw him walking in before. I know he's listed as day-to-day.
Yeah.
Sort of what is the procedure for the next 24 hours? He's just getting treatment, and you'll see where he's at as of tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing anything and everything he can to be ready for the game tomorrow. It's a serious injury, and at the end of the day, our team and the medical team is not going to put him in any bad situations. And so we've taken a decision to play out of his hands because the importance of him. And so he's going to do everything he can to play, and then we're going to leave it up to our medical team. And that's really it.
And separately, Jaylen has talked a lot this year about the pride he's put into playing at the defensive end and taking on big challenges throughout the season. He's obviously guarded a lot of the elite guys. He spent a lot of time on Luka in this series. His teammates have talked about the way he's approached that. How have you seen him over the past couple of years really grow at that end of the court, and how important is it for you guys to have him covering and picking up Luka 90 feet from the basket, trying to wear his energy out, and then still being able to give you a lot at the other end?
Yeah, listen, I think the growth of him as a player has been like not being defined by one thing. And when you have your superstar players know what it takes to win, and they're willing to take that on. So sometimes it's scoring, sometimes it's defense, sometimes it's rebounding, sometimes it's passing, sometimes it's executing. And I think one of the major growths of Jaylen's game is he'll do whatever it takes to win. And that could change each game, that could change each series, and he's doing that. Hi.
Hi, Coach. A two-part question. Sunday's Father's Day. What would your dad say to you 2 games away from winning a championship as the head coach? 1, and then 2, talk a little bit about how your faith has guided you throughout these past couple of years and how you lean on it to coach.
What he would say? He would say focus on the details, focus on the fundamentals. The closer you are to winning, the easier it is to become distracted by things that you can't control and things that don't matter. And here are the things that matter, and you got to fight like hell to accomplish those things with simplicity, with discipline, and mental toughness. Everything he talked about was about your mindset and about your mental toughness, and that's what separates you. And thank you for asking the second question. I think it's the most important thing. I think the ability to handle the ebbs and flows, the humility to understand that there's a plan that's much bigger than just who you are individually, and having an impact on other people, and then using the gifts that God has given you to try to impact those people. So it's my anchor, and it's been the most important thing, and I've enjoyed just the challenge of having to stick with that, even when it's difficult at times.
Standing on your left, Tim.
Joe, Kyrie obviously hasn't scored with the efficiency that we're used to seeing from him. When you look at the job that you guys have done defensively against him, how do you evaluate that?
I think he's missed some easy shots. I think, I expect him obviously to be even more aggressive and to fight to get those shots. The most important thing is just being detailed in individual defense. It's not about shutting him down. It's about just making it difficult for him because of his ability to impact plays. And so we just have to fight for that. He's gotten some good looks. I think we have to guard him better. I think, he's definitely going to be more aggressive. We got to be better in our individual defense. We got to be better in our team defense. We got to be better in our details.
Left side on the aisle, fifth.
Joe over here. I was curious about, when you watch players from afar
and then you actually get them in your midst. So what have you learned and enjoyed the most about Drew Holiday that you saw from afar, and now that you have him with you, like what have you found out even more about him?
I'd say the biggest thing is like when you get someone and you realize that everything everybody says about him is true. That's probably one of the ultimate compliments that you can get is like your character is what it is. It's what you say that it is. It's what other people say that it is. It's people that have noticed things. So I'd say that like everything everyone said about him when we first got him, it's been even better. And just the type of person that he is, his humility, his competitive nature, the way he treats his family, the way he treats his teammates, how hard he plays, and just his willingness to do everything.
Bobby, on your right.
Bobby Manning, CLNS Media. Joe, did you see what happened when Kristaps got hurt in that second half, and what was the kind of the communication like with him over the last day here? You said he wants to be out there, he wants to push the play, but it can be out of his hands. What's kind of that communication like with him over the last day here?
Yeah, I didn't see it, and it is out of his hands. Yeah, it's his job to fight like hell to put himself in the best possible position to feel as good as he can, but we're not going to let him compromise himself, and so that's really been it. It's just to say, hey, like, you know we need you. Do everything you can, but at the end of the day, we got your back, and we're going to make sure we put you in the best position possible.
How likely is it that he'll go tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Sirat on the left side, and then Gary, last two.
Hey, Joe, Sirat Sohi from The Ringer. I've got two for you. The first is, I heard you talk about how you want guys taking certain shots so you guys have good spacing in transition on the other end, and the way you sort of see the game is sometimes being like soccer. I know Tatum sometimes gets criticized for taking pull-up threes above the break. There was one where it turned into a Drew Holiday rebound. I think it was in the third quarter. Is that sort of an example of what you're looking for in those positions where it's just like take the good shot, don't risk it? And if so, is that like where did that way of seeing the game come from?
Yeah, criticism's the ultimate beauty, and it's just a sign of ultimate respect, and it's just a beautiful thing. So I really love the way Jayson's handled that, and it's just a testament to who he is. And shot selection's all about timing. It just depends on the time and score, depends on the spacing, depends on the type of shot the type of play we ran to get the shot that we want. So nobody knows what's a good shot and what's not, except the people in our locker room, because those are the ones that we talk about every single day, and we know how important shot selection is. And I think the greatest strength of our team is they fight to take the right shot every single time down the floor, and they know what a right shot is, and they know the importance of how the shot will impact your defense. And it will impact your offense. And so on that particular shot, that was a good shot because we were in offensive rebounding position. The floor was balanced. We had the matchup that we wanted. And it allowed us to do both, to offensive rebound and to get back in transition. Mm-hmm. And I think you just try to learn. You try to look at different lenses. I think everybody tries to look at the game the same way. So the more you can look at it from a completely different spectrum, it allows you to build connections. It allows you to really focus on the things where games are really won and lost, and not on the stuff that's easy to notice. I think everyone notices the easy things. It's can you fight to notice the things that other people aren't, because you know that's where winning and losing is in that space.
And the other thing is Sam Hauser said that he noticed that you kind of like you've cited, I think, killer whales and how they handle their prey. And you've also said that orcas are your favorite animal. I'm wondering if you could elaborate on how that
Yeah, I mean, you just try to use different things to keep the guys engaged. It's a long year. If you keep talking to them about game plans, it can get stagnant. And so you just try to build connections. You just figure out what's one thing that can just grab the guy's attention for an extra 10 seconds, something outside of basketball that you think can just hammer home a point. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is just making sure you get through to your guys so they listen.
Gary, last question in the middle.
Joe, Gary Walsh, Boston Globe. What kind of bond have you established with Drew? You guys are more like peers, close to the same age, and the sharing of faith. I mean, what have you learned from him this year, and what did you not? You had any relationship with all before he got here, and what have you how have you bonded with him?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be like peers with all of our guys, just because the age gap is relatively there, so I try to have a peer-like relationship with all of them. And then with each guy, it's different, because you can break down different barriers. Who's married, who has kids, whose faith is important. Sometimes it's not for people, so you connect differently. I've always had an interesting relationship with Drew because we share the same app, Hallow app, and before I met him, he was actually on there, and so I would listen to his prayers. I would listen to I got to know his heart. And then I coached him in the All-Star game, and so I always had this spiritual connection that we would end up in the same area at some point. So I kind of felt like I knew him before I knew him, just because of the way he prays and how he, I knew his heart. So, and then our relationship now is sometimes we talk to each other, sometimes we don't, sometimes we just give a head nod, sometimes I see his wife, I give him a hug, he sees my wife, give him a hug, and that's it.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey, I got a question. Who do you think had the hardest adjustment to the media and the criticism? Because like the lens with which Brazilian soccer players are looked at is very similar to how American athletes are looked at by their media, right? And you look at where Neymar has been over his time and like taking on the number 10 and the number 9, like who do you think has dealt with the most, and how do you think that they've handled it? Because I feel like playing for the Celtics and representing the country of Brazil for its national soccer team, and then now you see Enric coming up, and like he's going to face that soon. So like, how do you think that's handled in your country?
You're talking about football, okay? I just want to see if I got you right. I think Neymar has handled the most pressure lately, but because we had a lack of idols most recently. If we were back in 2002, we had Ronaldo, we had Ronaldinho, we had Rivaldo, we had a great national team. And this talent has went down for the years, and Neymar has surged like a huge talent.
Yes.
And we put a lot of expectations in him that he can deliver to us another World Cup. Yeah. So I don't think it's pretty fair to him what we did.
I agree. I would say the same thing for Tatum.
Yeah.
Like he's probably the first number 10 to take on the weight of Brazil since the social media era. Like, right? Like that was like who before Neymar was involved in that social media area. And it's like, he's so good, everything you do can be taken for granted. Like when he won the gold medal by making the game-winning penalty kick, you would have thought that would have solidified it, but it hasn't, right? So like, I think that's you ask an interesting question, because I think the guys that we're around share in that same burden of having to handle, the responsibility that they have to move it forward for what they do, and it's an ultimate gift. But I agree that it's probably Neymar, right?
Yeah. Most recently, yes.
Yeah.
And I have a particular opinion about, but I have to see the general thing about it, about Neymar.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree of a lot of his actions outside the field.
I don't know him. All I know is the soccer player.
Yeah. So if we just focus in the soccer player, and I don't think that's fair.
Don't get me into the coaches. I mean, don't get me into the football coaches, right? I mean, that's like an impossible job.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a huge country. We love football. We love soccer, and it's our sport. We were always good at. So it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And most recently, the results were so badly that the pressure is just rising.
Yeah, you got to study. I mean, I study that a lot because I think we're in a similar environment here as to how to handle all of that,
The Boston Celtics probably is just for the basketball is just that great as a Brazil as a national soccer team. So it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And I know you love soccer.
Yes.
And I know you like Guardiola.
Yeah.
And I know you stole some things from his thoughts.
Yeah, none of us are that good. We steal from everybody.
Thank you, Coach. Take questions for Jayson. First one, third row here.
Hey, Jayson. Blake Elliott, 105.3 The Fan. There's been a lot of talk about your game outside extracurricular. How good or how difficult is it to kind of block all that out and just be on the court and just kind of play your game?
It's a learned experience. Over time, you learn how to deal with all the extra noise and attention, whether it's positive or not so positive. And, you know, I'm a fair, smart person. I know when I'm doing things at a high level. I know when I need to do certain things better. So I'm not like oblivious to what's going on, but at the same time, just keeping the main thing, and focusing on trying to win the next game. You know, that's what's most important at this time.
Joey Mastretta with Clutch Points. I wanted to ask just about Kyrie, and you know, he's a great player. He's had some struggles in the series. What do you think you guys are doing well against him, and do you think he's just missing open shots?
I mean, that's part of it, right? You never like completely shut a guy as talented as him out. And you've heard it a million times. With great players, you just try to make things difficult, show them different coverages, just want to make them work for everything. They're going to make shots, they're going to miss some shots. You just don't want it to be easy and for them to be comfortable. And that's what, you know, any talented player.
Tim here on the left.
Jayson, Tim Reynolds with the AP. Two things, if I might. The first one, Matthew Tkachuk is watching a lot of the NBA Finals. He said he's 2 wins away, you're 2 wins away. How much have you followed what they've been doing?
Yeah, I'm a big Matthew fan, right? People know that we went to school together. And I actually watched him win last night, trying to learn and understand the rules in the game of hockey more and more. But, you know, I got to watch the game last night and they won. So, like I said, I'm extremely happy for him and his family, and hopefully they win it all.
The other thing, it's only 2 games in the finals. And like the first question alluded to, there's all this talk about your shooting numbers. How much would that have bothered you when you were younger? Because you're up 2-0 and you're averaging pretty close to a triple-double. I know it's just the 2 games, but it's not like you're playing poorly. How much does the fixation on just one number, how much does that bother you, and how much have you learned to just not worry about that stuff so much?
Yeah, I think being in the finals 2 years ago has helped me in this moment. And like I said, like I understand that I do need to be more efficient. I do need to shoot the ball better. I would not disagree with anybody on that. But you know, I'm not letting it bother me. Right, I'm still trying to find ways to impact the game and dominate the game in other areas. And I understand that it could take one game. One game I could explode, and you know, all those the percentage and things like that could change. So it's just that mindset of, you know, I'm one game away or whatever that means. But like I said the other day, I know what it's like to be in this position and lose. And, you know, just this time around, trying to do any and everything possible to have a different outcome. So, yes, I know I need to shoot the ball better, and I plan on it, but not letting that affect everything else that I need to do on the court to help us win.
Sam, standing over on the left.
Sam Amick, The Athletic. Jayson, your coach just had a fascinating discussion with this gentleman in the front row from Brazil, essentially comparing you to Neymar and the idea that superstars get scrutiny and he thinks a lot of it is unfair. Does that mean a lot to you? And behind the scenes, have you guys had those kind of talks where you contextualize the spotlight component of your experience?
Yeah, and that's one thing I truly do appreciate Joe, aside from being, I think, an excellent coach, is that I truly do believe that he cares about us, our team as individuals, and, you know, obviously myself, the conversations that we have. And he always, you know, through the season, the summertime, and obviously through this postseason, have had days where he's called me or called me into his office. And not necessarily talk about X's and O's, but check on me as a person and, you know, how I'm dealing with everything. And that does mean a lot for somebody to take time out of his day to show that, compassion or whatever, and just know that, he's there for me. That relationship between, yourself and the coach is important, and that's something I truly value about the relationship that me and Joe have.
Tim, standing on the left.
On a very different note, Jaylen's talked a lot this year about the pride he's put into the defensive end of the court and taking on big challenges throughout the season. How have you seen him over the time you've been together really grow at that end of the court, and how much has it helped you guys to have him be big and physical enough to take Luka on 90 feet from the basket, make him work, try to take as much energy out of him as he can throughout the course of the game?
Yeah, and that's just another thing. I think Joe always challenges, in particular me and JB, of finding different ways to affect the game. And I think JB has taken that up another notch of his conditioning and his ability to essentially chase down and guard guys, like you said, 90 feet from the basket. And that's just another way that, obviously besides his scoring and things like that, that he can positively impact the game, that gives us the best chance to win.
On your right, second row.
Lawrence Dow, Forward Star Telegram. Can you talk about the impact Kristaps Porzingis has had on both ends? And I know you guys have already played games without him, but how will this team have to adjust to playing this Mavs team if he's unavailable to go for Game 3?
Yeah, we're just so much of a better team when we have him. 7'4" unicorn, right? He's as talented as they come. Presents so many matchup problems on the offensive end, and then on the defensive end, right? That somebody that can affect shots, protect the rim as well as he does. So yes, we've had success and found ways to win without him, and obviously we're better when he's on the team, when he's out there playing with us. So, obviously he's day to day and doing everything he can to get out there and give us whatever he can.
Last question, Jared on the left.
Back to your shooting. You've come along so much as a playmaker and game manager these last few years. Has it been freeing for you, especially like freeing you from really the pressure you put on yourself, that you don't need to rely on scoring efficiently to make a major impact on the game?
Yeah, I don't want to put us in a predicament where it's like I'm shooting, not as well and still like, oh, we can win. Like I want to shoot the ball well. But, I feel like I just keep saying it, that's not the only thing that, I bring to the table, and not being defined by that. And where earlier in my career, I was just a score the ball and rebound type of guy. And, how much I've grown and developed and as a player and reading the game and understanding what the defense is trying to take away, what they're giving up. And there's such a long season that you're not going to make every shot. You're not going to shoot as well as you would like to. But, the guys that I've studied and the best of the best players have always just found a way. And, that's just all I've been trying to do, is just find a way to do whatever I can.
Thank you, Jayson. Jaylen will be up shortly. Let's go first question here in the front. Yep. Go.
Hi, Jaylen. Good afternoon. Ari Aguiar from ESPN Brazil. I don't want to get me wrong, okay? But it's obviously, that you wanted to win all the other playoff games that you played. But I want to know, in this particular postseason, we watch your eyes and we see more hunger for the victory. I want to know if you agree with this thought, and do you see yourself a different player in this regard compared to the other postseasons that you played?
You could say that. I like to pride myself is that I always try to play with that fire and that passion. I feel like, and that's what, makes me who I am, the essence of why I play and how I play. But, my experiences, the heartbreaks, the loss have all, kind of cultivated into what you see now. And, I don't want to feel that again. So I think that's fair to say.
Fifth row on the left.
Kevin Gray, Mavs Radio Network. Jaylen, you guys have talked about the sacrifice that it's taken to get back to this position. What has that taught you about how you guys have been able to operate in this postseason to be at the level that you guys are playing at right now? What has that sacrifice meant to you personally as you've been able to move and navigate this postseason?
It's been fun. Personally, I think it's been necessary. I think anytime you want to achieve something great, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice from every individual to get to where you want to go. So me going into this season, I knew that being one of the leaders that, that would be in front of me on my plate. So I didn't mind it, and it's translated into us being here in the finals. So sacrifice is necessary, not just in sports, but in life if you want to achieve a goal to some degree.
Third row.
Blake Elliott, 105.3 The Fan. Jaylen, teams that go up 2-0 go on in the finals, go up to win the series 86% of the time. How do you kind of keep the focus and kind of keep your foot on the gas and not look ahead to the end of the series and stay hungry for Game 3?
For me, it's different for every individual, but for me, it's almost like you got to trick your mind, almost in a sense, like you almost got to play like you down 0-2 rather than up. And that's hard to do, but like you got to go into that mind frame, that focus is like, nah, we are playing like that, rather than you let comfort, you let, some of those things kind of seep in. So you just try to stay focused and and try to harness the mind as much as you can, because the mind is a powerful thing, and it's hard to grasp, some of those things as you are in taking them. But if you can kind of focus your mind on what you wanted to focus on, you'll be surprised at what you can do.
Gary in the front.
Jay and Gary Wash from Boston Globe. How have you bonded, after playing against him for so many years, how have you bonded with Drew? It seems like it's been a perfect fit. He's been the consummate teammate. He's a player that seemingly has no enemies around the league, no adversaries. No one has a negative word to say about him. I mean, how have you bonded with him this season, and how have you gotten to know him?
Gotten to know Drew a lot. Drew isn't like I described it in the beginning of the season. He's like an assassin. Like, he just has a will and a might about him, how he plays, that he'll die on the battlefield. And I'm the same. So you recognize that and you respect that. Like, his will is unbreakable. He's gonna show up. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be in the fight with you. And I've been against him on the other side, so you could feel it. You could feel like this dude's not going anywhere. So I think that's where the respect for me and him, just being opponents, but now him being on the same team has been an honor. It's been an honor to be his teammate, just because of how he carries himself, his willingness to sacrifice, his willingness to adapt, and then be successful to what he's adapting to. Like, for example, this year was different for him for last year, but he's like mastered being a corner three-point shooter. Like, he wasn't that at any other point in his career, but he took the role on this new team and developed into almost a new player. And I think I don't overlook stuff like that. I think those are forms of greatness, even though, we expect greatness to be like these things that are so large or, so captivating, but stuff like that doesn't go unnoticed to guys like me. And it's been an honor to be his teammate.
Right here in the front.
Deontay George, NBA player, correspondent. Obviously you've been in this position before. I just want to, ask, how are you able to, keep the, team camaraderie, while adding, a couple high-level guys from last team and coming here, and how are you able to, is it you that's getting them to buy in, or is it almost like a group collective thing to just, everybody throw something in the middle?
For sure. So team camaraderie, and you're going to experience this. It's probably the hardest thing to gain in the NBA. Got a bunch of guys, bunch of egos, guys, agents telling them one thing, they feel another way. So having everybody on the same page is probably going to be the hardest thing you're going to be trying to experience throughout your career. I think it always starts from the top. Like you look at the top guys. So with me and JT, we've been here the longest, and we set the tone from the jump. And everybody else kind of has to follow along. And that's kind of what's worked for us. But every locker room, every organization is a little different, and you got to figure out how to get your team into that same vibe. But it's hard enough to get two people on the same page. Trying to get 12 or 15 all the way bought in is going to be some challenges. But, that's where leadership step in. As you develop as a leader, those are type of things that you learn. You improve, you build relationships with guys. You talk to guys on the court, off the court, they start to trust you. And that's how you start to build, some of those good habits. But it don't happen overnight, I tell you that.
Last two questions, standing on your left.
Okay, back here, Jaylen. When you first learned that there was going to be some uncertainty about KP's status, marking him as day-to-day, what was your reaction to learning that? And does anything about that uncertainty change the way that you prepare, that you guys go about getting ready? Or is it sort of same old, same old?
Same old, same old. KP has been tremendous for our group, not just in the playoffs, but all season long. And it's obviously like him on the floor just helps elevate us to a different level. But we've been priding ourselves on next man up mentality. We prepare for these moments to be able to play with and without anyone. So it'll just require somebody else on our team to step up and everybody to buy in to get a full team victory.
Last question, standing on the left.
Hey, Jaylen. Aurelia for the German Basket magazine. With the finals, there comes so much talking, all the comparison, all that stuff. How do you stay focused on keeping up the joy of, playing basketball, that you're actually in the position to play the game because you love it so much? So how do you keep the focus on that with all the other stuff around?
How do I keep the focus? That's a great question. How do I keep the joy? Honestly, just the relationships, the experiences that you have with your teammates, the growth is kind of what brings the joy out. It's like the testimony, just seeing where we were to where we are now, and like that journey to get there is like, that has the joy. I mean, that's where it comes from. It's like just being in those valleys, and now you get into the mountaintops. That's what brings that feeling. And I feel like we're climbing. We're not there yet. But when we get there, all the stuff that's happened before is going to be appreciated in those moments.
Thank you, Jaylen.
Thank you.
This concludes the session for today.